Thank you. Thank you, everybody. If you could find your way to your seats, we're going to get started. Awesome. Thank you. As you just heard, I'm Bob Chadwick. I have the distinct honor of being president of the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce, and it's my privilege to welcome you to our 101st annual dinner. So thank you. And to celebrate that, we have the largest crowd in the history of Newcastle County Chamber annual dinner. So give yourselves a hand for being here. Thank you. To kick things off, we're pleased to have with us this evening recording artist Jay Street. Please welcome Jay to the stage, and please rise for the singing of our national anthem.
Check, 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 check. Hello, hello. Check, check, check. Sound, sound. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. There we go. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Wow, thank you so much, Jay, for that amazing rendition of our national anthem. Thank you. Folks, now that you've sat, please remain standing as I ask Pastor Chris Rue of the Word of Life Church to come to the lectern to offer tonight's blessing. Pastor Rue.
What a privilege to be here this evening among Newcastle County's business leaders. Come on, let's give a hand for all the ideas generation businesses right here in Newcastle County. Why don't we take a moment, let's pray together. Father, we thank you that we're able to be here tonight. Lord, we are mindful that we're in the first state. We're in the state that broke through. We're in the state that pioneers. Lord, that's our legacy, and that's the history that you've graced us with. So, Father, we pray, Lord, over the businesses here. We pray over this chamber, Lord. We thank you that it's a place of economic thriving. We thank you that it's a place of pioneering new ideas, new innovation, things that lead the way into the future for Delaware. Lord, this is our history. This is our heritage. And we ask, God, by your grace, that you would continue to help us to thrive. That Delaware and Newcastle County is a place where businesses come alive, that there's faith, that there's the good fight to see the future laid hold of. Lord, we thank you this is a place that raises up generational leaders. Father, we pray over all our leadership that's here with us tonight. Continue to guide them, lead them in all things. We lift this evening, this food, our time together before you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Rue. Again, welcome to our 101st annual dinner on behalf of the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for attending and supporting our organization. We're proud to be one of Delaware's premier business organizations, And we work hard each and every day to help businesses connect and accelerate their growth, engage in legislative advocacy, and promote economic development for our county and our state. Before moving on, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the recent passing of two very special community leaders, Will Minster and Maurice Pritchett. Will was a strong business community advocate and supporter of small businesses and startups for many years. He was a personal friend, and it was my honor last December to present him with our Chamber's Small Business Advocate of the Year award. Will's going to be deeply missed by so many and by our community. Maurice Pritchett was an educator, a community leader, and a former basketball star at Delaware State University. He was also a former winner of our Chamber's Community Service Award. So please join me in a brief moment of silence for Will Minster and Maurice Pritchett. Thank you very much. Now to welcome us to the great city of Wilmington, please join me in welcoming to the stage our terrific mayor, Mike Przicki.
Yeah, this brought back strange memories. I was here a year ago and I was sitting down here and I wasn't, no one had told me that I was going to be expected to say anything. And Bob said, "Now, Mayor, come on up and say a few words." And I'm like, gee, what would I do? And Dick Vague was here, so I thought, let me tell Dick Vague stories. So I went on and started to tell a bunch of old war stories. And apparently I told too many, because this year, Joe Fitzgerald sent us a note. He said, in the event that the mayor attends, we would ask him to be inclined to offer very brief welcoming remarks. He may as well have underlined very. So thank you, Bob, and it's terrific to be here. Here are my brief remarks. Item number one, things have never been better for our city. We have, over the past 3 years, averaged almost $250 million, over $250 million in building permits. For a city our size, that's extraordinary. But you just have to walk around and see all the construction being done, and a good bit of it represents people moving into the city. I don't like to talk about this subject, but I must tell you that our crime rate has plummeted through the floor. And people, of course, for years always worried about Wilmington's crime. Last year was the lowest violent crime we've had in 15 years, and this year is 50% lower than last year. Our police department's doing an extraordinary job, and I couldn't be any happier. Our neighborhoods are spending tens and tens of millions of dollars everywhere you look. The governor is building a $100 million thereabouts Bancroft School, just changing that whole neighborhood. We have clean teams cleaning up every place. We're giving tens of millions of dollars in HBCU scholarships to our kids. And to put the finer point in this, Condé Nast said Wilmington is one of 22 cities in America to visit, and Forbes said we're one of 23. When did that ever happen? And so, you know, we're doing a wonderful job. We're so proud of what we're doing, and I have to tell you, a great deal of it is credit for it belongs right here in this room, with all the true believers and all the risk takers and the investors and the business folks that we have in our community. So Bob, keep doing what you're doing. We're proud to be associated with you. Happy to be here tonight. Fitzgerald, how'd I do? Is that too bad? Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, our chamber. And thanks, Joe, for that advice. You know, Joe's the king of brevity, for those of you who know Joe. And so it was great that he was able to give you that advice. But we're very proud to be located in the city of Wilmington, right here on the riverfront. And we look forward to working with you, Mayor Przicki, to continue to better the business community and the citizens of Wilmington. So thanks for being with us. And next, I'd like to invite to the stage another very special guest, someone who's, in my view, and I think the view of many, is just doing a phenomenal job for the state of Delaware, someone who led us through a very difficult crisis. And it's not an easy thing to do. And he did it with great skill, and we appreciate him very much, the Honorable John Carney.
Good evening. Joe Fitzgerald, the king of brevity, is that the guy that I know? That guy can talk your ear off. He looks great though. He told me he's lost 50 pounds. That's amazing. You know, it's great working with Mayor Przicki, really, and his team, as he highlighted briefly. They're doing a great job in our city. Our city is really strong. Every day I look out my window at that new grades 1 through 8 school on the east side, replacing Bancroft. It makes me so happy to see that renewal on the east side and all the things that the mayor's doing. That when you announce that J Street is going to sing the national anthem, you got to say Junior. I was really surprised when, is J Street Senior here from Newcastle County? I was surprised when he said he was a singing artist, because that's not the J Street I know, and he is a great partner for all of us. So the mayor yielded, Madam Congressman, the mayor yielded his time to me. Joe said talk 30 minutes or however long you want to talk. I've got about 5 or 6 meetings, but it's great to be here with all of you, particularly after the hiatus of the COVID. We've had a great partnership, by the way, with the Newcastle County Chamber of Bob and your members in communicating the things that we had to do to keep our community safe and to have a performing economy at the same time. And let me tell you, that was hard. Those 3 years, they're like dog years to me. I felt like it was 10 years at least. I guess you get 7 years for a dog year. Things are pretty good in the state as well. Mr. Mayor, recently my finance team and I met with the Wall Street rating agencies. I know you've done that yourself. Once again, we were recognized as a state with a AAA bond rating. And if you know, thank you. We all deserve that. It's important. It makes the money that we borrow at a lower rate. As you know, they do an in-depth analysis of your economy, really to figure out whether you're going to be able to pay the bonds back. And certainly a lot has changed. Our first AAA rating was back in 2000. For many years, the rating agencies, they wouldn't give us a AAA bond rating because they thought that our economy was too concentrated in too few sectors and few big companies. If you remember, Senator Carper used to always say we were the 3 C's: cars, chemicals, and credit cards. And the big employers were 2 automobile plants, the chemical giants DuPont, Hercules, and ICI, and our credit card companies like MBNA. In those days, DuPont was the biggest employer with 26,000 employees here in our state. And that was 1/10 of the workforce at the time. So the rating agency thought if something happened to DuPont or something happened to the chemical sector, we'd be in trouble here in Delaware. But today, our economy is more diverse and stronger than ever. And while DuPont has quite a fewer employees in Delaware today, the company's legacy remains strong with spin-offs like Chemours and Corteva, and the experimental station and Chestnut Run, which have become multi-company employment centers. Most people don't know that. And the auto plants, they're gone. Both sites, though, have been revived as big employment centers with Amazon at the old GM plant and Bloom Energy, Chemours, and the others at the Star campus at the University of Delaware. Both sites, believe this or not, have nearly as many or more employees working there today when they did when the auto plants were still open. That's hard to believe. They're different jobs for sure, and they represent the changing economy that we know is here in our state, one that's based more on science and technology, businesses like Insight and Prelude Therapeutics. Today, though, we're facing significant, unique challenges. In the 30+ years that I've been in public service, we've always had more people looking for work than the jobs available. More people looking for work than the jobs available. Today, we're in a very different position. It's just the opposite. Now we have more job openings than people looking for work. Now it's a better position to be in, but still challenging for sure for all the employers out of our state, the state government as well, and every business person I talk to tells me that. In an economy where growth is based on science and technology, the University of Delaware, Delaware State University, and Deltech are more important than ever. They sponsor the research and innovation that creates startup companies, and they provide the infrastructure to incubate them. And they train the workers for the jobs of today and tomorrow. And tonight we're going to hear from one of the leaders of those institutions, Dr. Tony Allen. Tony, I look forward to your message, and it's really good to work with all of you. Tony's one of those guys, he comes in and he says, I just need $10 million. How do you tell Tony Allen no? 14, he says. He'll up it if you give a public number out there. But as president of Delaware State, I can tell you that Dr. Allen understands this new and important role for higher ed in this economy. And he's the right person at the right time for the job as president of that university. But training, thank you, please. And you'll hear from him sometime soon, I guess, whenever the keynote is. Training at the college level, though, is not enough to develop a skilled and competitive workforce so that we can attract businesses to our state and keep the ones that we have here growing. And that's why Delaware high schools are investing more in a program we call Pathways, which is an apprenticeship-like program that connects middle school and high school students with potential careers in high-demand jobs with real-world experiences. And if we've learned anything from tonight's honorees, it's that education and workforce development starts from the first days in the classroom, from before the first days in the classroom. And I'd like to congratulate Bibi Coker for her recognition tonight. I didn't see Bibi, I assume she's here. She's over there, there she is, with her family. Bibi has spent a lifetime pushing me to do more, build schools on one side, and talk about talking truth, speaking truth to power. This woman knows how to do it. But her focus has always been a commitment to making sure our most vulnerable children get what they need in school to be successful. And like Bibi, Maria Matos, another than one that's always after me for this or that project, has worked tirelessly to strengthen the community on the west side of Wilmington. Her early education, her after school, and her summer programming will go along to make sure the children in those communities are successful. Maria's work at the LACC has really just been transformational. I think she deserves more. Kurt Foreman and his team, I don't know whether Kurt's here, I didn't see him, and his team at the Delaware Prosperity Partnership are doing a great job recruiting new businesses to locate here. And we've made it a priority to meet business needs to get sites what we call ready in 6 months. That means working with local governments and property owners to make sites available and ready for businesses looking to locate here in Delaware. No one is doing that better than my good friend and your other honoree tonight, the Mayor for Life from Middletown, Mayor Kenny Branner. Over the past 30 years, Mayor Branner has transformed Middletown really from a small farming town to a growing community with an important employment center. He's worked with partners to add hundreds of new jobs in the town. And that includes the most recent attraction, WuXi STA Pharmaceuticals. Over the next several years, WuXi STA will invest more than $500 million at the site in Middletown, creating hundreds of good-paying construction jobs along the way. And when the plant opens, they expect to create 500 full-time jobs as well, with another 500 coming. Wuxi STA decided to come here to Delaware, in my view, in part because of the biopharmaceutical manufacturing expertise at the University of Delaware, which we call NIMBLE, the National Institute for Innovation in Manufacturing and Biopharmaceuticals, easy for me to say. Thank you, Mayor Branner, for your commitment to your hometown and for our state of Delaware, and for being such a great partner. These honorees know that, as President Biden says all the time, a job is about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about dignity, it's about contributing, it's about having a means to support a family. The jobs you provide, all the employers in this room, put food on the table for thousands of Delaware families. And there's nothing more important than that, in my view. And I want to close where I started by thanking the Chamber, Bob, for your tireless work on behalf of all your members, the employers who create these jobs. I think it's fitting that this week is Small Business Week. And I know how involved the Chamber has been in supporting small business, which is the real backbone of the economy in Delaware. From your work in the Emergency Enterprise Center to coordination with the Division of Small Business and the DPP, you are always looking out for the employers large and small, and that's incredibly important work. Thank you for helping these companies be successful, and thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts with all of you tonight. Enjoy your dinner.
Well, thank you very much, Governor Carney, for those words and for spending the evening with us. And we join you in celebrating the tremendously diverse economy that we enjoy right now in Delaware, from those high-tech and science jobs, for the banking jobs, to even those warehouse and distribution jobs. We love those too. So we appreciate your leadership and you spending time with us this evening. Now, typically, we present our awards in the second half of our program, after we've given you a chance to eat. However, one of this evening's award winners has some very important business to attend to, and so to accommodate that, we're going to present our Free Enterprise Award at this time, and you'll find out why in a few minutes. The purpose of this award is to recognize an elected official who has been a champion of free enterprise and a strong advocate for the business community. As is our tradition, I'd like to call to the podium last year's winner of our Free Enterprise Award to introduce our honoree this evening. Please welcome the Honorable Michael Smith, State Representative.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. I'm very honored to be standing before you. I didn't hear the governor mention this, which is weird. I've never heard the governor not mention Philadelphia sports in a talk. So don't forget the Sixers start at 7:30, so we got to move things along. That's right. There you go. You're welcome, Governor. I do want to give one shout out, one to the winners. I can't imagine a better set of winners this year in terms of lifetime achievement, community service, and small business champions. So let's clap it up for all the winners. And also, I just want to give a shout out to my friend, your friend, Yvonne Detweiler, for being the new VP of the Chamber. Let's clap it up for Yvonne, too. All right, now to Mayor Branner. I wanted to start by saying I know how pleased he is that a Republican is introducing him tonight. So you're welcome. One of two left up here, so everyone play the lottery. But I'll give you a Mayor Branner introduction in chronological order. Mayor Branner has actually been the mayor of Middletown since I was in preschool, when I started in preschool. When I graduated high school that year, he started the police department in Middletown. And as the co-chair of the Life Science Caucus, very proud that he's bringing Wuxi to Middletown to stretch out the bioscience corridor from Philadelphia now all the way to Middletown. That's going to be a game changer for Delaware. That's why myself and Representative Krista Griffith started that. I got a chance to hear Mayor Brenner speak at the Star campus when we were starting to grow that a number of years ago, and he revealed his secret sauce of how he's grown Middletown over the years. Now, as someone who dated someone in Middletown in high school, I can tell you there was not much around at that time. Back when he started as mayor, I believe they had 3,800 people. Today they have roughly 23,000 people. And based off the housing construction, I believe that'll probably be at 46,000 before we know it. But Mayor Brenner, his secret sauce is he says yes, and then he figures it out. He gets everybody in a room and he figures it out. And he is not bullied into what people want to happen. He knows and stays guided on his principles of what should happen. So with that, I can't imagine anyone that deserves this more. From what we saw back in 1989, I was 4 years old, all the way to today. Mayor Brenner, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Representative Smith, and congratulations, Mayor Branner, and thank you for all your hard work and dedication to Middletown and our state. And I'm pleased to present you with our 2023 Free Enterprise Award.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I think we need to get a photo here somewhere, right?
Thank you. Mayor Purzycki, I'm glad Wilmington's doing great. Per capita, we're doing a hell of a lot better. So it's great to see you, Mike. I didn't have that down here, but thank you. Well, good evening, and thank you very much for this incredible honor. I share this award in honor with many council members that I have worked with in my 34 years as mayor. I've been extremely blessed to work with council members who have been supportive and share the same vision and love for our town. We could not complete what we do without our 165 employees who are unbelievable and work every day for our citizens of Middletown. We have a tremendous workforce and a dedicated staff of supervisors who meet with me on a regular basis. We go over where we are regarding our commitments to our businesses and our residents. We operate our town as if we were a corporation, consisting of several individual departments, and they have their own responsible budgets. They make decisions that'll benefit our residents going forward. Another key to our success has been the fact that what we have completed, that we have complete buy-in from all of our residents going forward. Our monthly council meetings are all open with a straightforward attitude and honesty that is key to our residents. They know that all decisions that we make will be made on the floor without any surprises going forward, because we do not stray anyway from our published agenda. I don't beat around the bush, and I believe our residents like that. If you want to know how I really feel about something, don't ask, because I'm going to tell you the truth. Our success to the enterprise and business realm should not be a surprise. It's because I don't say no. To any business that wants to relocate to Middletown and bring jobs, it's always a yes. If we think it sounds good and it'll be a plus for the town, we tell them yes, and then we figure out how to get it done. That drives all of our staff leadership crazy, because they always figure it out and complete the task at hand. When we were talking about Wuxi, they were talking about a $1.3 billion facility that'll need 700,000 gallons of water per day, including wastewater. Can you serve that? Hell yeah, no problem. So I go back to our staff, how are we gonna do that? They said, we can't. We don't have enough capacity to be able to do it. So what are we doing? We're building a new wastewater treatment plant. So that's what it takes to get the job done, and the staff supports that. I'm so grateful for the partnerships that we have. I have learned so much from the 5 governors that I have worked with, especially Governor Carney. Also our federal delegation, Senators Carper and Coons and Representative Blunt Rochester. I love how things work in Delaware, where you can call a member of our delegation and they'll answer your call or they'll get back to you. Trust me, that certainly doesn't happen in other states. We have always treated our relationships with other entities as partnerships in our journey going forward. That includes DEMREC, believe it or not, DelDOT, the Delaware Prosperity Partnership, and all of our chambers of commerce. From the tiniest business on Main Street to the Wuxi, our giant pharmaceutical company, they are all our partners in what we are doing for the town of Middletown. Also, I want to thank Diane and Nikki Taylor at Artesian Water for allowing me the flexibility to sometime meet with prospective partnerships in our journey forward. I have to thank my wife, I have to thank my family, especially my wife of over 52 years, Nancy. As we all know, without her support through all these years, none of this wouldn't have been possible. So thank you on behalf of all of our partners that I mentioned. We appreciate this award from the bottom of my heart. And I'm sorry that I usually have to miss this annual event because it's always on the same night as a council meeting. And that meeting starts at 7:30. Again, I'm grateful for this award, but I'm disappointed that I'm going to miss my friend Tony Allen and his keynote speech tonight so I can make tonight's Middletown Council meeting on time. Thank you for this award, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mayor Branner, and congratulations. It's our pleasure to present you with that award, and thank you for everything you do for Middletown and for Delaware. At this time, I need to thank a whole bunch of people who make this evening possible and make the ongoing operations of our Chamber of Commerce possible, and that is our sponsors. And you'll bear with me, I hope, because it's a long list. But I think it's important to acknowledge each and every one of them for what they contribute. I'll begin by recognizing the silver sponsors of this dinner tonight, Nemours Children Health and Sallie Mae Corporation. Sallie Mae is in the house also. On behalf of our board of directors, the chamber team and members, I would like to thank Nemours and Sallie Mae for their generous support. Please turn your attention to the screen for a brief video from Nemours Children Health.
It's incredible, the journey we're about to start. To find new ways to make children the healthiest they can be. What could be more impossible, you ask? What could be more important, we ask you, than to totally reimagine it all? Keeping healthy children healthy, while finding new, unexpected ways to get care to children who need it. Working hand in hand with community leaders, educators, and policymakers to make every child's world a place for them to thrive. This journey we're on, it's going to take us further than we've ever been, so that we can take children's health to where it's never gone. Well beyond medicine.
Thank you again, Nemours, and thank you, Sallie Mae, for your generous contribution tonight. Our bronze sponsors for this evening are Artesian Water Company, Crota, Fulton Bank, Saul Ewing, Arnstein and Lair, and WSFS Bank. And also our President's Circle sponsors tonight, AAA Mid-Atlantic, Allen Insurance, Aloysius Butler and Clark, AT&T Services, Bloom Energy, CBM IFS Insurance, Chemours, Chesapeake Utilities Corporation, Comcast Business, Comcast Cable of Newcastle County, Corteva, the Delaware City Refining Company, Delmarva Power, DuPont, Effect TV, Fitzgerald Consulting, JP Morgan Chase and Company, M&T Bank, Meta, TD Bank, Veolia North America, and Wilmington University. Thank you to all our President's Circle sponsors. Those are all folks that sponsor not only this event tonight, but all the events of the Chamber throughout the year. So without them, we just really couldn't get the job done that we get done, and so we really appreciate them very much. Our legacy sponsors tonight: Artisans Bank, Assurance Media, Bird Gomes, Delaware Public Media, Insight, and Verizon Delaware. And our cocktail sponsors: Aetna, NAI Emory Hill, Parkowski, Girk, and Swayze. And a special shout out, I think he's in the audience tonight, former Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Dave Swayze. Dave, are you here? I don't know where anyway, he's here, and a special shout out to him. And certainly, last but certainly not least, Verdantis. I would also like to thank our contributing sponsors: Katie Sika with Creative Image Photography for capturing the photos this evening, to Eris for keeping our event safe and clean tonight with their air purifying systems, and Nothing Bundt Cakes for the delicious parting gifts that you're going to receive as you leave the event tonight. Don't miss those. Those are really, really good. I might take two. Just warning you. So thank you all again to our sponsors for your generous support. Without it, we couldn't do the job we do, so it really does mean a lot to us. Now we're going to take a brief break while dinner is served. So thank you. Enjoy meal. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. Well, I hope you've been enjoying your meal. How about join me in giving a big thanks to all the servers from the Chase Center and the Chase Center staff for all their hard work. To continue our program, please turn your attention to the screens for video greetings from our congressional delegation.
Thanks very much, Bob. I'm sorry I can't be with all of you tonight, but I'm still hard at work in Washington at my day job. Tonight's dinner is a great opportunity to reflect on all that we've achieved in the past year and to look forward to what lies ahead. And if we've had we have had, quite frankly, quite a year in Washington. We've made historic investments in our nation's infrastructure, including our roads, highways, bridges, water, broadband deployment, transportation systems as we come to implement the bipartisan infrastructure law. You may have already started seeing signs of this law around the Newcastle County and the state, from improvements on Route 896 and I-95 to Route 40. The bipartisan infrastructure law is helping get our goods, our services, and our people where they need to go more safely and more efficiently. We've also passed the Inflation Reduction Act that, along with helping to address inflation, lowers healthcare costs and energy costs and creates a fairer economy. And finally, we've passed the Water Resources Development Act. That's legislation that authorizes much needed investments into our beaches, into our waterways, our critical infrastructure, essential to the first state's economic growth. The movement of our goods throughout our country and trade beyond our borders. This also includes ports like our Port of Wilmington, which gives us access to the world's markets and gives them access to us. Access that is only possible because of the Corps' work, dredging, shipping channels. But perhaps the most important investment we're making is the one to address our planet's health, from deploying tens of thousands of charging stations, hydrogen fueling stations, and funding for tens of thousands of low and no emission buses, to funding green hydrogen, offshore wind, carbon capture, and so much more. we've assumed a leading role in preserving our planet for generations to come, all while creating good-paying jobs. Let me end, if I could, by congratulating this year's award winners. B.B. Coker, B.B., if you're there, we love you. Maria Matos, we love you too. It was good to see you just last week. And Mayor Branner, my hat's off to you, my friend. Keep up the good work. Collectively, your work to help Delaware become a better place to live, to work, and do business has been vital to our success and the success of the communities in which we live. I hope to see all of you soon again in person. Take care. God bless. Thank you.
Wow, what an incredible evening you will have at the 101st Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce Annual Dinner. The Chamber's been working for more than a century to advocate on behalf of businesses of all sizes here in Newcastle County. It's been a tremendous resource for education, support, and advocacy. Congratulations to Chamber President Bob Chadwick, to all the staff and the members of the Chamber's Annual Dinner Committee. You have a remarkable and inspiring program this evening. You're recognizing my dear friend in service, Mayor Kenny Branner, with the Free Enterprise Award, Maria Matos with the Community Service Award for her outstanding leadership of the Latin American Community Center, and most importantly, B.B. Coker, a beloved figure here in Delaware, the most powerful and important person I know, who's never held elected office, but to whom every elected official turns for inspiration, challenge, and direction. B.B., please know that we all love you. And I know tonight you'll hear a stirring and an engaging keynote address from Dr. Tony Allen, my friend and brother in service, who is the president of Delaware State University and plays a central role in President Biden's Historically Black College and University Leadership Initiative. You've got a great evening in store. Congratulations and enjoy the 101st Annual Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce Annual Dinner.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, and I am so thrilled to be able to provide greetings for the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce's 101st Annual Dinner. To President Bob Chadwick and the entire board and staff of the Chamber, thank you for all that you do to strengthen our communities and our entire state. And to the members of the Chamber, thank you for being the backbone of our economy, for creating opportunity and innovation, and ultimately a word I care a lot about, jobs. I hope that you know that in me, you have an ally in Washington. Since my first job at McDonald's on Market Street to my time as Delaware's Secretary of Labor, Head of State Personnel, and CEO of the Urban League, to my work in Washington, one word has driven my career, and that's jobs. It's why just a few weeks ago, I was proud to introduce a comprehensive jobs agenda, a package of 7 bills, largely bipartisan and bicameral, that takes a holistic approach to economic policy that I believe will help unleash the full potential of America's economy. From workforce training programs to addressing workforce shortages to fixing and strengthening our supply chains, it's my goal to deliver the jobs agenda to President Biden's desk to help aid the work of the Newcastle Chamber and all of its members. Now, before I go, I would be remiss if I did not congratulate tonight's incredible award winners, B.B. Coker, Maria Matos, and Middletown Mayor Ken Branner. Thank you so much for all that each of you do each and every day for the state of Delaware. I know I speak for all of us here tonight when I say we are so grateful for your leadership. Thank you all, and have a fantastic evening.
Thank you, Senator Carper, Senator Coons, and Congresswoman Blunt Rochester, who's with us tonight. Thank you for your service and everything you do for Delaware and for our country. We appreciate your work. And I know that Senator Carper is on a train and should be here before the end of the night, and we hope you have a chance to chat with him before you leave. We're also honored to have with us this evening a few other elected officials, and I'd like to call on them and have them stand to be recognized. Our Lieutenant Governor, Bethany Hall Long. Our state treasurer, Colleen Davis. Colleen, where are you? Our state auditor, Lydia York. Lydia, where are you? I can't see you with the lights, but I imagine you're out there. And our Newcastle County executive, Matt Meyer. Matt? We're also honored to have with us this evening numerous members of the Delaware General Assembly, as well as some other local elected officials. Hopefully, we've captured all of their names on the screen tonight, and I want to thank all of them for joining us as well and for their service to our state. I'd also like to take a moment to point out a special group of members who work to advance our mission and to provide outreach to the business community, our chamber ambassadors. This dedicated group of volunteers donate their time and energy to help promote the chamber. So would our ambassadors please rise and be recognized? They're scattered throughout the room. Thank you all for what you do, and thank you for your volunteerism. And I couldn't do this evening without especially thanking my team at the chamber, my staff. We couldn't accomplish all the things that we do without them. They're an incredible, incredible team, and I want them to stand to be recognized. Where are they? I can't see where they are, but they're out there. There they are, in the back corner. And I have to, it takes the entire team to put on, to do what we do all year long, but to put on an event like this takes so much work. It takes the work of the entire team. But I have to actually call out two people for the extra effort that they had to put forth and the leadership that they showed in putting this event together. First is our communications manager, Emily Justison. Emily, stand up. Thank you, Emily, for everything you do. And also for our newly minted chamber vice president, Yvonne Detweiler. Yvonne, stand up. There she is. She's an incredible leader, and she's really done a lot to advance our cause and to make us successful in what we do. So, Yvonne, thank you. I'd also be remiss if I did not thank our annual dinner committee that worked so hard to make this evening's event possible. Can the annual dinner committee please stand? And you should see their names on the screen as well. Annual dinner committee. Led by our fearless Joe Fitzgerald, chair of the annual dinner committee. Also key to carrying out our mission at the chamber is our board of directors, my 23 bosses, all of whom are with us this evening. So please, if I could ask our board of directors to please rise and be recognized as well. Of course, the board is led by our very able chair, Pam Scott, partner at Saul Ewing, Arnstein & Lair, and I'd like to invite Pam to the podium to say a few words and to introduce our next award winner, Pam Scott.
Good evening. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves this evening. This is by far the largest crowd that I think, have ever had, and we very much appreciate everyone joining us this evening. We are now embarking into our second century at the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce. As Bob said, my name is Pam Scott. I'm a partner at the law firm of Saul Ewing, a longtime member of the Chamber of Commerce, and it is my honor and privilege to serve as the board chair. The Chamber remains, as it has been since its founding in 1922, a member-focused organization. While serving our members, the Chamber works to improve the broader community, promote economic growth, and foster a business-friendly public policy environment in order to attract investment to our county and to our state. In addition to providing premier networking opportunities for our members, we also connect members, help them to build relationships, and find their next customer. The Chamber is known also for its robust legislative advocacy, which we undertake at all levels of government, and for the work we do as part of our economic development mission. The County Economic Development Council, which was created in 2002 and our business incubator, the Emerging Enterprise Center, which was established in 2008, both form the core of our efforts to attract and retain businesses in Newcastle County and the state of Delaware, and to foster the growth of new businesses, which has been accomplished for the past 15 years through the efforts of our Emerging Enterprise Center. But our work and our success would not be possible without the support of our members. For that, on behalf of myself and my fellow board members, I say thank you very much. Tonight, I am pleased to introduce the winner of the 2023 Economic Impact Award. In doing so, I would note that this is the first time that we have bestowed this award on anyone. This award recognizes a business's outstanding impact and contribution to economic growth in our county and state, and this year's winner is J.P. Morgan Chase and Company. And the mayor, you got a really good seat tonight. J.P. Morgan Chase and Company is a valued and supportive member of our chamber, and they have had a profoundly positive impact on the county and the state. Their announcement in January of their plans to undertake a major 9-figure capital investment in Delaware and to fill more than 600 open positions in our state, adding to their already considerable employment footprint of about 11,000 people, was a tremendous sign of confidence in the state of Delaware. In fact, their planned investment of hundreds of millions of dollars in Delaware will be the second largest real estate and renovation project currently active in the company's portfolio, second only to New York City. Their steadfast support of our community and their major investment in Delaware make them the ideal choice for this award and for being the inaugural winner of this award. To receive the award from our president, Bob Chadwick, I would ask that Don Mell and Mark Brindle of J.P. Morgan Chase join us on the stage.
Thank you very much, Pam. It's my honor to present our inaugural 2023 Economic Impact Award to J.P. Morgan Chase. Mark, we got a photographer right there.
Right there? All right.
Right there.
So I'll explain a little bit later. I get to speak twice tonight, and I found that out at 6:30 this morning. So I didn't really have my head wrapped around this. But the nice thing, Pam, is that you've basically said everything that was in my comments. So I really there's nothing more to say. No, seriously, Mark is on the board, a newly minted board member, and we at J.P. Morgan are very proud to accept this award, this inaugural award from you guys. We really value the relationship with the chamber. I personally value my relationship with you, Bob and Galena. You're great friends. The chamber's great friends to our firm. Just a little bit of history. J.P. Morgan and Newcastle County, the relationship goes back over 100 years. Back to 1915, when the firm financed the DuPont Company's munitions that were sold to France and Britain during World War I. It was a $500 million loan at that time, which was pretty damn big. And that is really the beginning of where we are. Pam, as you mentioned, we announced in January a major renovation plan in the city of Wilmington and in Newcastle County. And I'm not, no offense to the other mayor, but we doubled down in Wilmington. So so you can tell. And we doubled down in Newcastle County. And look, I'll tell you why. And it's very simple. And I have colleagues here that can confirm this. I can't tell you a place in the United States where it's easier for us to do business than in the state of Delaware and in Newcastle County and in the city of Wilmington. And that's just That's it. And that is thanks to the business community here, but the mayor of Wilmington, Newcastle County, and the governor. And I tell you, the last 3 years basically, I remember having a conversation with you, Governor, about this, and your response was something along the lines of, I'm not going to tell you guys how to do your business. You know how to do your business, and you know how to keep your people safe. And that's the only time we heard that from anywhere in the country. And that is why we're here, and that is why we're growing here. Finally, I just want to say this. Economic impact is about investment. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to our people and what every one of them makes and gives back to the community every day. That's really what true economic impact is. So again, I'm very proud to accept this award on behalf of my 11,000 colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, J.P. Morgan Chase, for your contribution and impact on the economy of our state. And thank you, Pam, for your leadership of our chamber. Next, we're going to present our Community Service Award. Each year, we present our chamber's Community Service Award to an individual who has made extraordinary contributions of their time, their talent, and resources, and dedication to bettering our community. I will now ask our 2022 honoree, Dr. Joan Coker, to introduce this year's recipient. Dr. Coker? There you are.
Oh, I have the great fortune of talking about one of Mom's favorites, Miss Maria Matos. So as soon as I told Mom I had to introduce Maria Matos, she rewrote my entire script. So I'm going to read exactly what your good friend has written. Maria Matos, President and CEO of the Latin American Community Center since 1994. She's an educator. She's inspirational. She's a visionary and truly God-sent to our community. Her dedication to the community has ensured effective residency and recognition of the Latin American Community Center through numerous board appointments, which includes Academia Charter School, J.P. Morgan Chase Partners, the Advisory Board of Christiana Care, its partnership also with the United Way. Her seat at the table has allowed for direct impact, as Maria Matos knows how to lean in and get done the work necessary to level up the Latin American community. During the COVID-19 pandemic, she was on the front line, working with critical community advocate groups, making sure that the Latin American community was educated, had the resources provided to level the healthcare inequities and the gaps which currently exist in our community. Mrs. Matos is listed in Who's Who among Hispanic Americans and Who's Who among professional Americans. She has received countless awards. It is with a great deal of pride and pleasure that I present the 2019 Delaware Women's Hall of Fame inductee, this year's Community Service Award nominee, Mrs. Maria Matos.
Second.
Oh, okay.
This
way?
And it's my really tremendous honor and privilege to present this award, our 2023 Community Service Award, to Maria Matos.
Thank you. So, first of all, I have to bring my little, Latino
that colorful, huh, Governor? You gotta be colorful. Anyway, let's see what we have here. Thank you. Bibi, I take my hat off to you because you're my mentor. I follow your footsteps. And if anybody can do it, Bibi Cooker can do it. And you don't take any stuff from anybody. And I learned that from you. So there you go, Governor. That's who I learned it from. Seriously. But I'm honored to receive the Community Award from the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce at its 101st annual dinner. I am humbled to be here representing the Latin American Community Center and Newcastle County's hardworking and entrepreneurial Hispanic community, because you know, they are talking about starting new businesses. They take the cake. They take the cake and work very hard. So, okay, I'm going to stay to the script because my staff always gets at me that I get off the script. So, my community service and my role as CEO of the Latin Center are one and the same. So I can say that the Latin Center's mission and my mission is to empower Latino community through education, advocacy, partnerships, and exceptional services. What a mission in your city, Mr. Mayor. I like to think that this award from Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce, to me personally, recognizes that I have helped make the Latin Center a good steward of its private and public funding, and that the agency is run on good business principles. I must thank the Latin Center excellent board of directors, because sometimes, you know, you have a board of directors that rubber stamps. Not my board. No, sirree, Bob. They keep me on track and focus. But most importantly, our Chief Financial Officer, Emilio Rana, who came highly recommended from Giordano, the auditing firm. He is a force to be reckoned with. You don't mess with his numbers at all. Our great finance staff. I believe that good business principle is to surround yourself with people that know more than you. Because why you want somebody that knows less? Doesn't make sense. But you have to have, you know, strong, you know what, in Spanish to be able to put up with that. Because you have to admit, you don't know everything. So you surround yourself with people who know more than you know your weaknesses, and you find people who can fill those weaknesses. That's how I have been able to assemble such an excellent team at the Latin Center. Our donors, both public and private, require accountability. You know, we throw that word around a lot, right? But in fact, funders like Longwood, they'd rather have a business plan than a proposal, because they want to know that you are who you are, and you're going to do what you say you're going to do with their money. I am proud that donors can invest in the Latin Center and know that whatever program we start, whether it's the Infant and Toddler Center that we just built in Wilmington, or the proposed new center on Christiana Road in Newcastle, County Executive Mike, there you go. I'm heading your way. Well, I'm heading your way because Latinos are already there. And we have to do what we need to do. It's run with core business principles and a commitment to quality. One of our principles is to listen to our clients through surveys, through conversations. We ensure that the community needs are headed in the right direction. If not, we course correct. Because why are you going to provide a service if nobody needs it? And that's a good business principle. We always try to grow and expand to best meet the community needs. We created new programs in response to COVID-19. That was a major fight, but we did it. And the governor came around. He's a wonderful guy. He came around. We fought a lot, but we came around, and we're still friends. You know, to provide access to the education, to the testing, and to the vaccines. Because in our communities, you can't do it the same way you do it in every other community. It can't be, how do you say that, massive vaccination. You have to have that trust. And that's what we are about. We are about a community that trusts the Latin Center. We didn't close. The governor said, I need child care centers that provide services to essential employees. Nurses had to go to work. The restaurants stayed open. The essential employees, we provided that. We became an emergency child care center, and we prevented eviction and utility shutdown by providing nearly $800,000 in crisis alleviation funds in 2020. You may say, where did they get $800,000? Well, let me tell you, our philanthropic community was quick to move. From JP Morgan Chase to all the philanthropic community. They said, okay, we need to course correct here. We got a crisis, we need to deal with it. That's why we at the Latin Center were able to provide $800,000 in crisis alleviation so people would not lose their house and they would not lose their electricity. But let's give a hand to that philanthropic community who rallied around the individuals most impacted by the pandemic and committed funds not only to the Latin Center, but to the other agencies around Wilmington and around Delaware to ensure impacted individuals could remain housed, fed, and safe. That was a crisis that we worked together and we came through, thanks to the leadership of our mighty leader. Who, no, I mean it. He came around. He is a leader. I mean, I know that he wanted to do, how do you say it, economy of scale, which is easier. You know, you go to Delaware Park and you have a big, what do you call it, parking lot, and you start shooting vaccines in the arm, and people, you know, an assembly line. But you couldn't do that with the Latino community or the African American community. You got to build trust. But you came around. You came around. You came around, and I love you for that. See, I did it again, staff. So the center never closed. We stayed open. Later, the community needed learning center hubs. We started the hub, and United Way took it across the state so that the kids at least can stay on track during COVID when they were not in school. They completed the virtual schooling while their parents were able to work. In 2022, based on a client survey, we created our immigration program to help community members navigate the complexity of the immigration system. You know, that system, where is she, Lisa? Got to do something about immigration. We'll get there, right? We'll get there. But in the meantime, we needed to create a program to help people navigate that system. You know what keeps me up at night? It's sustainability. Being able to sustain something that you started, that keeps me up at night. And I lose sleep over it. You know, how do we ensure that the 54-year-old Latin Center is still serving the community on its 101st anniversary, like Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce? How do we do that? When I started my community service, I don't even want to go back there, but that's a story for another day. But when I started my community service as director of the Latin Center, the agency budget was $700,000. Our budget today is over $10 million. But that's not counting the charter school that we gave birth to. That's not counting the HUD 202 that we built for low-income seniors. And that's not counting the new infant and toddler center that we built across the street. So we've been moving, and we're going to continue to move. But, you know, we didn't do this alone. The service, the only way the Latin Center grew its services was by running it like a business. And I know that sounds crazy with a nonprofit, but we did it, we ran it like a business as well as a human service agency. It's gotta be done that way or you're not gonna be able to do it. When things, this is my philosophy, I don't know about you guys, but my philosophy is when things aren't going well, I look in the mirror. I look in the mirror because the buck stops here. Now when things are going well, I look out the window, I look at our talented staff, at our community, at our city, at our local generous donors, many of whom are here in this room. I want to say thank you for helping the Latin Center grow. I want to thank my family that's here. They're scattered around because people donated some chairs to me, and I really appreciate that. But I have my granddaughters here so they can start learning. There she is over there reading a book instead of listening to her grandmother. So, yeah, I tell them all the time, they gotta pay attention. So, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for helping the center grow in quality. I want to thank my family because I have an amazing family and amazing grandkids. There's nothing like grandkids. How many have grandkids here? Aren't they wonderful? You can keep them for a little bit and then send them home. I want to thank the Delaware Hispanic Commission. I want to thank the Latin Center staff who are here with me today to celebrate this honor. And finally, once again, I want to thank Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce for honoring me with the 2023 Community Service Award. Muchas gracias. Se lo agradezco. Oh, you guys are amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Take this with me.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Maria Matos. And I think I said this to you before, as I did Mrs. Coker and others, and Mayor Branner and others. I don't really see this as us bestowing an honor upon you. I see this as an honor to us, to allow us to recognize you on this important occasion. So it really was an honor for us to have you with us, and an honor for us to be able to present you with that award. Next is our Lifetime Achievement Award. Each year we recognize a leader who has distinguished themselves in their career and has made our county and the state a better place to live, work, and invest. The Chamber understands the importance of a strong business community and the great value of being an engaged supporter of the many organizations that make Newcastle County such a great place to live and operate a business. Right now, I'd like to ask our 2022 Lifetime Achievement Award winner to come forward and introduce this year's honoree. Please welcome to the stage Mark Stellini. Mark.
Put that one down, and thank you very much. This is a really exciting time for me. If you were here last year and heard my speech, you'll know that I recognize the award winner as one of my mentors, and I'm just so excited to be here to do it. I just want to thank and congratulate all the rest of the award winners. To have JP Morgan win the award, I see Don and Mark in the community all the time, everywhere I am, so they certainly deserve another round of applause for those guys for what they do for us. So now this is a really special time. So this lady doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to give it. So B.B. Coker is a native of Jacksonville, Florida. and has claimed Delaware as her home since 1960. As a graduate of Morgan State College, BB started her career in public service as a social worker in Los Angeles. She later moved to Delaware, continuing her public service work for the state of Delaware. Her dedicated advocacy for the underserved began in the early 60s and continues to present day. BB has been a revered community champion for public education and literacy for over 50 years. She's been highly involved in social justice in Delaware, as well as a longtime advocate for quality public education, the arts, and diversity. BB is working with educators and policymakers to elevate the teaching profession. She lobbied Governor Carney, the Secretary of Education, and university leaders to create a learning academy for teachers at Delaware State University. BB has served on numerous boards, providing volunteer service to the Newcastle County VOTEC School Board, of which I'm a member of, and they're here tonight, and it's an awesome school. The Newcastle County, I'm sorry about that, Jobs for Delaware Graduates, two pokes, Jen. Jobs for Delaware Graduates, and the Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League, just to name a few. BB is a longtime member of the Cornerstone Fellowship Baptist Church, where she works with the Black Heritage Ministry and Children programs. She presently serves on the board for the Community Education Building, a citywide effort to provide urban youth with an effective educational environment. She also serves as a member of the Muriel Gilman Women Action and Group Strong Neighborhoods. BB has been a recipient of numerous awards for service to the community. She was one of the first recipients of the Jefferson Award. Here are just a few recent awards. One of 3 Great Dames icons for her contribution to her community and her fellow women, presented by the Great Dames, Inc. The John H. Taylor Jr. Education Leadership Award, presented by the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce Education Affiliate, the Partnership. And the William A. Verban Award for Advancing Delaware Education, presented by the Delaware Center of Justice. BB's greatest joy, though, and source of pride and support are her 3 daughters, or her best friends. She says, "I've always told my children, your job is to wake up every morning and figure out what you can do to help someone else. What can you do for someone that isn't about you?" With a little bit of pressure there, guys, huh? A little bit of pressure on you guys? Yeah. Well, if you know her daughters, you'll know the apples have not fallen far from the tree, for sure. So, she also says, if you see an issue in your community, say something. In Delaware, the one benefit that we have is that you can probably get the governor on the phone or see him in your community at some point this month. Well, governor happens to be tonight, and if Dr. Allen can ask for $10 million, how much can BB ask for, right? BB's anchor is her strong faith in God and her lifelong words she was taught to live by. Don't let your talents take you where your character can't keep you. It's all about the integrity of one, you. Like I said last year, I knew when I was young, starting in business and starting in the community, that if I was someplace and BB Coker was there, I knew I was in the right place. So tonight, BB Coker's here, so we're probably all in the right place. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the 2023 winner, the Lifetime Achievement Award for Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce. One of my mentors for sure, Beatrice BB Ross Coker.
Is a tremendous honor and privilege to be able to recognize your work and to present you with our 2023 Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you. I have to apologize for the way I'm walking and that kind of thing, but I refuse to come up here in that wheelchair. But I don't even know what happened. I was at church Sunday, a month ago, whatever it was. And I just got sick. But the experience was interesting because it's the first time, other than having children, that I've ever been in a hospital. And I'm 87 years old, so I'm saying, wow. So I said that just to say that regardless, we've always got something to be thankful for. So that was a new experience, and I was thankful to get home because that food really is bad. It's true. Yeah, yeah. To Bob Chadwick and to all of the board of directors and the dinner committee, I really want to thank you. I had forgotten when Joan reminded me of the honor. I hadn't forgotten that you had been kind enough to nominate me, but I had forgotten where we go and, you know, the magnitude of it and that kind of thing. But I guess I'm the kind of person that anything I get that somebody thinks I've done something, I'm grateful. And I kind of get embarrassed when they say something or do something seriously, because I really think that, and I hope that I reared my children this way. You're here to serve somebody else. You're not here for yourself. Now, I know that sounds like, oh, that's Pollyannish and that kind of thing. But you think about it. Suppose somebody hadn't helped you. And when you think about it, you can't help but understand that we're here to serve each other, regardless of what color you are, what you look like, what your gender is. It doesn't matter. If people need you, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to stand up here forever because my kids will never stop talking about it. But I just kind of wanted to emphasize some things that the governor said and some things that we really need to look at, I would hope. Okay. We've had this thing called public education for a long time. And I think we just need to all remember that things kind of wear out after a while. And they need to be refurbished. They need to be kind of renovated, jacked up a little bit. Now, this is where we are now. And I would love it if this first state would initiate for this entire country the business of teachers as educational engineers, because that's what they are. I think that we should all recognize you can read a stop sign, you can read this program, because you had a teacher. So we got to stop playing down the benefits of an educator and being educated, and stop doing all this talking about how important teachers are, but act like they are. Pay them, train them, give them what they need to provide for your children and my children. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So lastly, thank you. God bless you. And once I kind of get my strength back, I'm going to be right back teaching legalized racism again in the state of Delaware. I love doing it for the university. I love serving people, and I will continue to do so because this is my life, as long as God will allow me to walk and talk and just be. Thank you to the 3 best daughters in the whole wide world. I know you got yours, but you should have mine too. Thank you. Thank you.
She wants another picture. Thank you so much, Mrs. Coker. Boy, I'd hate to be Tony Allen now coming up and following that. Well, now it's time to move on to our keynote address. And we have a little change. There's going to be something up on there on the screen that says Tom Horn's coming up to introduce Dr. Allen. And I'll let our speaker explain that. But Tom couldn't be with us tonight, so please welcome to the stage my good friend Don Mell to introduce our keynote speaker. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. All right, so Tony, I know you were expecting your longtime friend Tom Horan to introduce you tonight, and I know you had he's a twin, but he's actually a triplet. I'm the triplet. In all seriousness, Tom really wanted to be here tonight. He is the head of our consumer branch banking business, and I don't know if those of you who have been reading the news or hearing the news over the last 24 hours, we acquired another bank and 84 new branches this morning, so he's on the West Coast, and I'm here. And I found out again at 6:30 this morning, and all I said was, thank God I'm not speaking after Lisa Blunt Rochester. So I'm going to sort of put this together because I sort of wrote it, but I never read it. So anyway, before I introduce Tony, I'd like to congratulate our other honorees tonight, Maria Matos, Mayor Branner, and Bibi Coker. And Bibi, I don't know if you remember, but I have very fond memories of the first time I met you. I think it was in like 2006 or 2007. And Jack Perry and I were trying to get Prestige Charter started. Yeah, and so I show up in your living room with all, this, and Bibi's like, what's this guy doing in my living room? and there it started. So anyway, Tony, I guess, and again, you got an AI guy that introduces you, not a William Penn guy, so I'm going to do my best here. Tony is President and Chief Executive Officer of Delaware State University. I think you all know that. And he has continued to demonstrate a commitment, as he always had, a commitment to young people and to providing young people meaningful opportunities for a bright future and giving them a real dose of leadership at the same time. It's under Tony's leadership, DSU's moved from what I would say a Dover institution to a statewide institution, and an institution that's making an impact in the city of Wilmington and in Newcastle County. Under Tony's leadership, he became president in 2020, and Delaware State University is now recognized as the nation's most diverse contemporary HBCU in the United States. And I hear from a source that your mother taught you from an early age, words are a creative force. And I think you've turned those words into a creative force in many ways over your careers. It is no surprise then that Tony's the master of the spoken word. He started his career as a speechwriter for a younger senator than Joseph R. Biden Jr., now our president. Is that why all these speeches are so long? Just kidding. That relationship outlasted Tony's speechwriting career, and in 2020, he served as Chief Executive Officer of the 59th Presidential Inaugural after having served on the advisory board of President Biden's transition team. And in 2021, President Biden appointed him chair of the President's Board of Advisors on Historically Black Colleges and Universities, a role that he continues to serve today. Tony was at MBNA, had a very successful career at MBNA and Bank of America. He then moved on, after that, right, to the Metropolitan Urban League and founded the Metropolitan, before? Okay, sorry. He holds a BA in political science, a PhD in urban affairs, and a public policy from the University of Delaware, as well as a Master of Public Administration from Baruch College City University of New York. And he's the proud husband of Mrs. Tara Allen and the father of 4 fantastic kids. I'm gonna share a final comment from Tom, and I hope I do this justice. In 1964, during his Nobel Prize acceptance, Martin Luther King said, I refuse to accept the idea that the isness of a man's present nature makes him morally incapable of reaching up for the internal oughtness that forever confronts him. For some context, Dr. King was speaking about his faith and the faith of the future of our country back then, despite its problems. Later in the same speech, Dr. King said, "I have the audacity to believe that people everywhere can have education and culture for their minds. That is precisely what Tony Allen has always worked tirelessly for in Delaware and beyond." Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring and in welcoming Dr. Tony Allen.
Hello. Thank you, Madam Vice President. My name is Kateo Hilton. I am 18 years old and I grew up in Washington, D.C., just a few miles from here. During Black History Month, I paid closer attention to the street names I walked by, like Nannie Helen Burroughs, who fought for educational equity for Black women. And I learned about the history she made in the community where I am from. I learned about the many leaders who have come before, whether they created change in their community or changed the world. Black History Month also celebrates the history we continue to make. I am a junior mentor at Light Pieces to Masterpieces, a youth development and mentoring organization for Black boys in my community. In a world full of violence and negativity, Life Pieces to Masterpieces gives us a space to be safe, express ourselves authentically, and create new Black history every single day. I've been a part of this same program since I was 4. Since starting high school at McKinley Technology, I've dedicated over 600 hours to meeting with my younger peers, whether it's by helping with their homework, supporting them with their creative expression, or accompanying them on the van to help them to make sure that they get home safely every single night. In just a few months, I will go to Delaware State. Which I know President Biden will be happy to hear about. I plan to graduate from this HBCU and attend a law school. Because I have to be that Black history for my younger brothers at Life Pieces. They need to see an example of someone who sets a goal and commits to it, no matter what obstacles they may face. That's what Black history has done for me. That's what my own mentors at Light Pieces have done for me. And that's what the Vice President has done for me, in blazing her own trail. And that's what the President has done for me, creating jobs and opportunities and leading an administration that includes more people who look like me than I could ever imagine. Now, without further ado, the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The chair of our board, Dr. Devonna Williams, and myself were at that White House event. We did not know that young man. We did not know he was going to introduce President Joe Biden. And we did not know he was coming to Delaware State University. But we sure know him now. Let me introduce you to Kateo Hilton. Kateo, please stand. Kateo is just completing his freshman year at Delaware State University. He's a political science major, an aspiring attorney, has a 3.7 GPA, and has already started building his Life Pieces to Masterpieces program for young boys of color in Delaware. Brothers and sisters, Kateo is Delaware State University, and we couldn't be more proud. To the chamber, thanks for the invite. Bob, I appreciate you all thinking of me and of the strategy to get me here this evening. That was one thing no one says no to Yvonne Detweiler. Ricky Detweiler taught me that a long, long time ago. To Don Mel, you did pretty good in introducing me for an AI guy. Everybody knows I hail from the 19720. Newcastle's. Oh, I got a couple Newcastle people here. Fantastic. But thank you, brother, for your friendship as well. I also want to say some special words about Brother Tom Horn, who I know was called away this morning. I've told this story many times, but after the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and the social and political unrest that followed, I, like many of my black friends and colleagues, was inundated by calls from white friends, allies, appalled by what they had witnessed, trying to figure it out for their own families, and checking on folks like me just to see if I was okay. It was usually just one call, but they called. Only two people kept calling, Chip Rossi and Tom Horn. And in each case, instead of simply going back to their already terrific careers as business and community leaders, they began a very intentional and personal self-exploration. Not just wondering how they could do more, but actively engaging in the cause of social justice at work, with their families and friends, and most importantly, in their hearts. More than a decade ago, I wrote Tom in a moment of uncertainty for him and his family. And I told him that the will of God won't take you where the grace of God can't keep you. Remember God's grace. He reminded me of that note just a few months ago when he received the Delaware Citizen of the Year award. And over the last few years, particularly in the last few months, that saying's manifestations have been brought to bear in my own life. The will of God won't take you where the grace of God can't keep you. Remember God's grace. I told the governor that I would not spend the next few minutes giving you a homily or a sermon, but who knows? I do want to take a moment to express some simple truths that speak to the work of two legendary heroines in B.B. Coker and Maria Matos. And I just want to ask you all to stand on your feet one more time and give them another rousing round of applause. Come on, y'all can do better than that. Come on. Two quiet, shy, demure women, don't want any trouble, just shrinking violets, wallflowers. I can tell you that my time under their mentorship has meant so much to my professional and personal career. Has Maria Matos called me in her office to cuss me out every now and again? Sure. But she does it in Spanish, so it's fine. Has B.B. Coker not cussed me out, but I felt like I got cussed out? Sure. But she's from my hometown in Jacksonville, and I love her. And to Mayor Banner, who I have not known personally, I know he had to leave, my wife and I are Newcastle folks from the 80s. And we remember Middletown then. It was not a place you could get lost in. What he has done to grow that community is nothing short of remarkable. And I thank him not only for growing that community, but maintaining its cultural fabric as well. Good people, my message to you today is not specifically about Delaware State University. It's really about the power of faith, friendship, and family. Faith. Regardless of your spiritual identification or lack thereof, faith is substantively tied to our ability to achieve. An old biblical adage says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We must have faith in something to believe that something else will materialize. There is no new business enterprise, updated personal journey, or enhanced career exploration that doesn't begin with the simple concept of faith. Even if we don't know how to get there, we know the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. My own story, in many ways, is a question of faith. I was born of a teenage mom kicked out of a Florida public school, a biological father who was long-term drug addicted and never really wanted to know his son, a stepfather who was a good and decent man but never finished the 11th grade. Except for my mother's enduring faith, no one could have predicted the opportunities that I've had in my life. But now my team and I, some of which are here today, get to represent thousands of students and families each year whose circumstances vary from the wildly stable to just on the edge. Their faith placed in a 132-year-old historically black university. Oftentimes in that 132 years, systemically under-resourced generation after generation, but still open to all. A place to believe, a place to spur on good citizenship, quality education, and economic impact to communities throughout Delaware, and dare I say, throughout this country. All from a simple notion of faith. Faith. Friendship. An old boss of mine used to say, it's important to win with friends. I never found that boss to be much of a friend. But I like the saying, Governor. Friendship in its broadest sense is deeply tied to faith. To achieve effectively, we must be in connection one with another. A healthy friendship becomes healthier as the belief in one another increases. Like many of you well know, a company engenders trust in their clients by valuing their time, providing them with something that speaks to their needs, keeps a listening ear, and shows up when it matters the most. That is effectively the essence of friendship, the core tenet of a personal relationship, a working relationship, and a good business model. Do I know my customer? Am I supplying them with all their needs for a fair exchange? Am I there when they need me? In 2017, I was a brand new provost at Delaware State University. First time in higher ed, coming out of 15 years in banking. A young man walked in my office and said, I need to see Dr. Allen. My executive assistant said, do you have an appointment? He said, that's not how it works here. I'll wait. He did wait for an hour. Finally, he got to see me, and he was quiet, shy. I had to prod out of him why he was in my office. Young man, how can I help you? Young man, how can I help you? Finally, he said, Dr. Allen, I learned about you at the Brown Boys and Girls Club. One of my mentors said, as soon as you get here, I need to come see you. I said, young man, how can I help you? He said, Dr. Allen, I'm homeless. My first question to him was, how long you been homeless? He said, since I was a sophomore in high school. Friends, think for a second what it takes for a homeless sophomore in high school to think about college, then apply to college, then get into college, and never tell a soul about his plight for an additional 2 years. Immediately, I said, young man, you're going to work for me as my intern. I got him some housing. My wife and I took care of him. He graduated. You know what that young man does now? He's a public school teacher in an inner city school. Friendship and faith, and dare I say, family. Family is effectively both a recognition of an unending bond based on a similar set of characteristics and loosely agreed upon cultural norms. At least that's how it is at Thanksgiving for me. I don't know about you. Family embraces, but it can also disappoint. Family can be your protector, but also your toughest critic. Family loves with passionate attention, but can argue and hold a grudge longer and more deeply sometimes than your deepest enemy. I'm so glad the governor came around for Maria. Family is hard, but necessary, and often the foundation. We've had a great run at Delaware State University. You know that we're the most diverse, contemporary, unapologetic HBCU in the country. You might not know that we're the fastest growing HBCU in the country. You also might not know that when you grow, there are sometimes some growing pains. And you got to be thoughtful about that too. A few months ago, members of my family, my students, lifted their voices, had a protest about some very serious issues. That next day, I decided to have a town hall with them. That town hall started at 6 p.m. It ended at 3 a.m. And I wanted everybody to speak. I wanted everybody to share their story. The topic was around sexual assault on college campuses, which is not a new topic anywhere in this country. And I can tell you that oftentimes when a person in my position has to hear those things, the first thing you do is listen. The second thing you do is write a memo. The third thing you do is hope that it goes away. We were not going to do that. My team and I decided to lean in. And it's been hard. But we now have a group called the Safe Space Coalition. That is a 100-person group of parents, students, university faculty, and staff, all committed to the cultural transformation that needs to change at Delaware State around that issue and at colleges and universities around that issue. That was because my family stood up. So by now, you might be wondering, Tony, where is all this going? You do know you're at the Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce Dinner, right? I do. What I'm attempting to frame here is that faith, family, and friendship is exactly what we need at this particular moment in our country. It is the only KPI that matters in a democracy committed to a more perfect union. So as you go with me briefly tonight, remember three things. Equal chances to opportunity are central to a healthy community. Expectations matter, and ego often gets in the way. In 2001, 22 years ago, Fannie Mae CEO Franklin Raines gave a speech at the National Urban League in Chicago, where he described the economic travails of Black Americans. At the time of his speech, Black Americans were more likely to earn less likely to be social and economically mobile, more susceptible to violence in their own communities, less likely to start their own businesses or own their own homes. Does that sound familiar? But instead of leaning into those truths, Raines talked about what America would look like if there were equal chances of opportunity, high expectations, and ego got out of the way. As he started that, he talked about a new Kaiser Foundation and Washington Post survey that surveyed American attitudes about race in the country, which found that 60% of white Americans at that time believed that the average black family was faring about as well as the average white family, sometimes even better. So Raines did a study. Effectively, he said, all things being equal from 1619 to 2001, what would the impact be on African Americans in the U.S. without any other impact on any other group? Here are his findings. 700,000 more black folk would have jobs. 2 million more would be promoted to higher paying professional managerial jobs. The wealth of black households would be $1 trillion. Black people would have $200 billion more in the stock market, $120 billion more in their pension plans, and $80 billion more in the bank. The prison system would lose 700,000 African American adults. Lose. Black people would own 600,000 more businesses with $2.7 trillion in revenue. All without any other impact on any other group. I remember the sheer roar of the crowd. We all were excited about that possibility. But we also thought, so what? None of that has happened. And I think today, we're still at a little bit of a so what moment. So let me introduce you to Delaware State University. First, in the words of Martin Luther King, he says we are all tied up in an inescapable network of mutuality, which effectively means if one's affected, all are affected in some way indirectly. Governor Carney will remember, as many of you will remember, that before I came to Delaware State, I spent 5 years in public education reform as a hobby. My colleagues and I held countless town hall forums, met with about 25,000 live people over that time around the issues and inequities in public education. Inherent in almost every single meeting, there was one clear agreement. You know what that was? The current system was not working for all children. Literally, nobody disagreed with that point. And there was also a fervent agreement that every child should have access to quality education. But the disagreements were entrenched. Why? Because we couldn't see our network of inescapable mutuality and the 60 years of inertia that preceded it. Since that time, we've still had trouble, but there have been some improvements. The governor, the General Assembly, the Delaware courts, all have come around to compel some new action. Is it enough? No. But what I can tell you in my own life is that it compelled me to leave financial services to come to Delaware State University. And now I can say to you, for the first time, the number one choice for students of color in Delaware seeking a higher education is Delaware State University. We recognize that hoping young people from low-resource communities get to college is not enough. We have an early college school led by Dr. Evelyn Edney. It has 600 7th through 12th graders, many of whom are aspiring first-generation college students, all of whom can receive up to 60 college credits tuition-free before they're ever admitted into any university. Think about that. It's been around for 9 years. They've earned 11,000 tuition-free credits at Delaware State University. And equally important, they've earned about $31 million in scholarship opportunities. Just to give you a sense, if you earn 60 college credits and then you apply to school, you're usually a second semester sophomore, first semester junior. So you got 2 years left. Because of the likes of folks like Governor Carney, we were also able to extend something called the Inspire Scholarship. How many people know what the Inspire Scholarship is? For those of you who don't, please take out your phones. If you have a 2.75 and a commitment to public service throughout your time at Delaware State University, the state of Delaware will pay your tuition all 4 years. Why is that so important to HBCUs and Delaware State in particular? Because you may not know that we represent only 3% of all college and universities in the country, 3%, but we still produce 20% of all black graduates in the country. On every factor, we materially punch above our weight. 80% of all black lawyers and judges started at an HBCU. 70% of all black dentists and doctors started at an HBCU. 50% of all black public school teachers started at an HBCU. If you didn't have Delaware State University or the 101 HBCUs in this country, you literally have to invent us. Our collective impact is $15 billion to the economy around the country. And in Delaware, we boast more than $500 million in economic impact to the state of Delaware. It matters. And I can tell you, the one thing that irks me when I meet with a lot of C-suite executives and they're saying they need to develop a diverse talent pipeline. Tony, if I could just develop a diverse talent pipeline, the problem is I cannot find them. Anybody ever heard that? My common retort is, you're not looking hard enough. There are 325,000 black graduates coming out of HBCUs alone every year. And at Delaware State, just so you know, more accountants of color, teachers of color, businessmen and women of color in Delaware come from Delaware State than any other institution in our state. In fact, we have an aviation program that we've had since 1986 that literally graduates more pilots of color than any other place in the country. Why do I tell you all this, my friends? Because we need you. I have the great opportunity to chair the President's Board of Advisors on HBCUs, and we are still, after almost 200 years in existence, HBCUs are still underfunded, not getting enough resources, cannot connect in the right ways to folks who we know need our talent. So when you think about a diverse talent pipeline, when you think about quality, particularly in your own state, I ask you to consider Delaware State University. I want to tell you one final story before I take my seat. Because many of you may think, Tony, you said a lot of black today. I have. But I can tell you that a school that started with 6 students and 3 teachers is now 26,000 living alumni and 6,218 students, more students than we've ever had. 65% of those students are black, 10% are white, 7% are Latinx, and the rest come from 23 countries around the world. Some of you may know the dreamer population, children of undocumented workers. Delaware State has more children of undocumented workers at Delaware State than any other place in the country per capita. In 2017, again, I was with the Dreamers, just a couple of them, with Senator Carper. And one expressed this after the president had just put out an executive order scaring the life out of them because they thought their families were going to be deported. He said, Senator Carper, I have never pledged allegiance to another flag except the American flag. That next day, we held a town hall just for those Dreamers. Remember, it was just 150 of them at that time. 900 people showed up across our university team. And the SGA, the student government president, got up that day and said in 1891, Delaware State was created for us. For us. But it's clear now that you are us. That's why Delaware State is so important. That's why this time in our country gives us a unique opportunity to implore faith, family, and friendship. When I was a young college student, Tyrone Jones was one of my mentors. Ty is here. This is before he made all that money at Bloom. Ty would come in along with a woman named Kim Graham, I think Ray Avery might have been around then, and teach us these call and responses. You say something, I say something. This one call and response, which I will not make you do, went something like this. Now, more than ever, all the brothers and sisters must come together. Everyone everywhere must feel the time is in the air. Common blood flows through common veins, and common eyes all see the same. Now, more than ever, all the brothers and sisters must come together. Newcastle County Chamber, brothers and sisters of goodwill, now is our time for all of us, because we can be better together, and we need you. God bless you.
We have one last award to present.
And as we present that award, I just want to make sure I call out my wife. I'm only a year married, forgive me. She is my high school sweetheart, the beauty of my dreams, my favorite person. She's so great, I put her up in a hot air balloon and made Lisa Blunt Rochester marry us. I love you, Tara.
And that final award is to Tony Allen for being our keynote speaker this evening. Thank you for those inspirational words, Dr. Allen, and thank you for the work that you are doing to change the lives of so many people, and we really appreciate it. The Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce appreciates it. And well, everybody, that concludes our program this evening. Thank you all again for coming. Thanks for supporting our Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to all the award winners, and congratulations to all the award winners this evening. We all look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great evening and have a safe trip home.